All right, let's get into the fucking card. So let's rewind our shit back to Wednesday, because we've had a total of 20 something fights between now and to when we're trying to rewind the shit back to. I know you like the foreplay. I know you like the little fluff up a little bit. So let's get down to Chase Sherman versus Ike Villanueva. That was the first fight on the Wednesday card. Did you watch this fight or no?
Yeah, I actually watched this. All I remember from Chase Sherman is like he was shit. He would always just get clipped and rocked and wobbled and put out every fight. And it looks like he went on the regional scene, came back, and he looked good here. He looked crispy. He definitely looked way better than Chase Sherman has looked before.
I'm so glad that you said that, because I know that 95% of people are going to be like, he's right. That's correct. I can't wait to bet him next time around. I can't wait to bet against him.
Okay.
All he has hands and kicks, which a lot of heavyweights just don't really give a fuck about kicks. You know what I mean?
His defense didn't look that great either. A better fighter's going to
if you watch his regional fights between his UFC tenure, he's still getting hit. Yeah. He still got rocked in some of these fights. It's just that his opponents are so shit.
When a guy loses 3 times in a row in the UFC, then goes out, wins 3 in the regional, and gets brought back, I'm not convinced. But he did look like a better version of Chase Sherman than I've seen in the past.
Like, I'm not going to completely shit on the guy. He looked great. Like, he went out there and did what he needed to do. He recognized that Ike Villanueva only really had hands and had the opportunity to knock him out. Mixed in some kicks, and he pulls off. He had a couple bare knuckle fights where one of them he lost to Joy Beltran. If you remember fucking Joy Beltran from back in the day. But look at that. Frank Tate, 6-5. Jeremy May, 13-10. Rashawn Jackson, 5-1. These are the guys that he's finishing. Two of those fighters he stopped with leg. He dropped them with leg kicks and then followed up with punches. Yeah. 2 of them. Okay.
This guy also like knocked out by Sakai or something.
Ground and pounded by Augusto Sakai.
Yeah, these are bad.
Lost to Justin Willis. KO by Shamil Abdurrahim up before that. He beat Rashad Coulter, who's dog shit, who also lost. He lost. I'm pretty sure Ike Villanueva's last fight before the UFC was against Rashad Coulter, and like absolutely dummied him in that fight. Yeah, he beat Roger Narvaez, if you remember that guy too. That guy, he was in the UFC. But yeah, Ike just not the greatest fighter either. Just like a brawler type of fighter, and if he doesn't really have a game plan,
mid-tier fighters,
great performance by Chase. But I'm really looking forward to to betting against him next time around, because I feel like it's going to have that like Ty Leal effect. Remember fucking Khalil after he beat Eric Anders? Everybody's like, yo, this guy's a new fighter. He's going to go out there and kill everybody. Fucking Ion Cutelaba goes out there, wrestle fucks his ass and finishes him.
It wasn't even a wrestle fuck. He just got in his face. Yeah. And it was so clear to me that Cutelaba could not keep that pace. So just be cool and cautious. And Khalil just gave up. Like, even when the way the finish happened, I'm like, you could have defended yourself. Yeah. You just gave up. Like, you quit.
I expect the exact same thing to happen to Chase Sherman, so I'm really looking forward to his next fight. Next up was my lock of the night play, which fucking like whiffed so hard. The most frustrating thing is when you watch tape on guys and then they don't go out there and do what you expect them to do, because they've only ever shown things that they do. And then he goes out there and tries to strike with Brian Keller and gets knocked the fuck out. I'm talking about Hunter Azure.
He was really doing well until he got knocked the fuck out, but it did seem like Keller, the toughness started to come into play. Azure started to slow down a bit, and then Keller was starting to clip him, and then he just fucking put his ass out.
Keller has hands. I'll give him that. He has a nasty guillotine choke, which I wasn't expecting him to.
He's also got bad defense.
Yeah, he gets hit a lot too.
Gets hit easily. He's just tough.
I'm really hoping that they actually put the O'Malley fight, because he called out O'Malley after that card. That's not a bad fight for O'Malley to come back to, right? Like just
probably an easy fight for O'Malley.
Yeah,
if he looks the way he looked in his last fight, he can keep up that
and
pace.
The range that he's going to have in terms of advantage here too. His kicks are
and
really
O'Malley is so fast. Like he clips you and gets right out of the way, and he's got that length. So
I don't know what it is about Brian Kelleher, but he just rubs me the wrong way.
I get it.
Sure, he's great. You know what I mean? Like Sergio Moraes, another guy. Sure, they're great people, but they just rub me the wrong way.
Sergio Moraes just pisses me off. Fuck that guy. He is annoying.
Omar Morales versus Gabriel Benitez. I had the under 2.5 in this fight. I thought somebody was going to get knocked out, but Morales did a good job of staying on.
Constant strike-up battle. Yeah. Not much to say about it. It was just a fun fight.
It was a good fight. That nasty cut on Benitez's shin off of a leg check. That was disgusting. Kudos to him for actually pulling out another 10 minutes after sustaining that injury. Sijara Eubanks versus Sarah Moraes. I expected a little bit more resistance from Moraes here.
Really?
But Sijara,
like looking at this fight on paper, it just seemed like a clear-cut, unanimous decision. Eubanks, like even before the fight was announced, I probably could have given you those scores.
What the issue with Eubanks though is she's shown issues with her gas tank in the third rounds before, and with Sarah Moraes, she's more of like a zombie, always coming forward type of fighter.
One thing though, Eubanks generally shows cardio issues at 125, I believe. Like right now, she's back up to bantamweight. She had all those weight cut issues.
Sarah Moraes is a slightly, like, she's a thick bantamweight too. So if she was actually able to implement a little bit of her jiu-jitsu and her weight on Sajar, she probably could have gassed her out that way too. But yeah, Eubanks just looked great right off the bat. And she gets the 30-27 around there. Don't really give a fuck about her. And this is probably a one. Actually, no, wait. It's probably not a one-off for her. She's probably going to stick around at bantamweight now.
No, yeah, this is like
always had those 125 where she's probably never going to make weight there again.
No,
but she still seems like a small bantamweight, eh? Like she doesn't seem like she's going to be like. Imagine her against like Holly Holm or something. Right? I mean, Holly Holm's way too big. Jermaine Durand,
she'll never
another
get
one.
That fight. So
she won't be top 5. That's for sure. Thiago Moises versus Michael Johnson. I was so bummed that I was like this close to betting the under 2.5 here, plus 180. Either Michael Johnson by KO or Moises by KO or a submission. And what happens? He gets the easiest fucking submission you can get is a heel hook. What a fall from get. Like I'm not calling Thiago Moises complete dog shit or anything. He's decent. He's a really good fighter. He's still coming into his own. Very young fighter too. But Michael Johnson.
Okay.
What if I told you 5 years ago that Michael Johnson's record is going to be 19-16 5 years later?
Do you know why I would actually believe it? This fight was just more of the story of Michael Johnson. Looks like a fucking animal in the first round. He's clearly piecing him up. He's got that great boxing, good athletically. Then a guy dives at him for a takedown and he gets submitted, or he, like Darren Elkins dummied him and then he just gets his back taken and choked out. It's like
Stevie Ray. Remember the end of the Stevie Ray fight? The last like minute and a half, 2 minutes, Stevie Ray got him down somehow and then just had his back the entire time, was close to finishing him, couldn't finish him, obviously stole that fight. Got a majority decision, meaning that probably one judge had it a draw or something.
The Josh Emmett fight, he was winning the entire fight until he got blasted.
Bro, the funny thing about the Josh Emmett fight, I was watching the tape on that, and literally 15 seconds before, you can hear the coach, his coach in the background yelling, "Stay sharp, Michael, stay sharp." 15 seconds there, boom! That was one of the crazier knockouts too.
So you look at this 3-fight losing streak, those could all easily be wins.
Yeah.
All of them. Now scroll down. Even when you look at his record, he's got one of the weirdest records. He has losses to names that he shouldn't have losses to, but then he's got wins over some big names. Like the Darren Elkins fight, he was winning that fight. Justin Gaethje, he was actually winning that fight and hurt Justin Gaethje a couple of times before he got swarmed. Khabib, I mean, he clipped him a bit on the feet, but he got owned. He's not a good grappler, whatever.
Poirier.
The Beneil fight was a robbery. He won that fight. The Nate fight even. Michael Johnson just got sucked into Nate's game for round 2 and 3, but he won round 1. He looked like if he just fought a little smarter, he could have easily won that fight. It's crazy to me that out of this entire run, his best win is a knockout over Dustin Poirier, because look at where they both are now.
Well, it didn't. It didn't get to the second round, which is where he normally starts to change his game.
Poirier stood there and let him box
get them out in that first round, and it's good. But he has a win over Barboza 5 years ago, which is crazy. Melvin Gillard before that, Gleason Tebow before that, Joe Lozon, Hazem Haddadi that he lost. So that one was weird.
He was winning that fight too. Yeah. Look, big story of Michael Johnson's career. He either loses a bad decision or he loses a fight where he just kind of mentally lapses and stops performing. Like, he could easily be top 5 in featherweight or lightweight.
What's his UFC record?
Skill wise, he should be a top guy. He just needs to shore up his fucking. He seems to have these mental lapses when people get him down. Like, he's like worried, like, oh fuck, this is bad, and then he just gets subbed. Or
he's 11-12 in the UFC.
That's crazy. For a top tier fighter.
Slow salt. Exactly, yeah. A guy that we expected to be in like the top 10, top 5.
But he is a top fighter. Michael Johnson reminds me of Jeremy Stevens in that sense. He's a tough fight for anybody, and you could be a really top tier fighter and lose to him, or you could just be like a guy no one's heard of him.
That's a fight that's never happened, right?
There you go, Jeremy Stevens versus Michael Johnson.
Fucking making fights on the go here. Unfortunate loss for him. Big one for Thiago Moises. That's a guy that I kind of have
a little
potential.
he
It's a
heel
name.
hooked Michael Johnson after
a
getting
name.
beat up for a bit.
It's
Is
kind
that
of
a great
it's
win?
kind of a name though.
Name wise, fine, but what
Look,
the
he lost to
fuck?
Beneil Dariush in his UFC debut. That's not, that's
No, that's a good. That's a fine.
That's
There's
a
nothing
solid.
wrong with that. Yeah.
Beats Kurt Holloway, which he should. Demir Ismagulov is
Yeah, I looked at this Demir guy's record because I wanted to see like how bad of a loss is this. That
he's
guy's like
good.
18-0 or some
He's
shit.
good.
He's like some monster.
19-1.
Okay,
he's
yeah,
so
it's a
good,
ridiculous
dude.
record.
What watch one of his fights, dude. His
Okay.
striking is on point.
All right, so we can't fault him for that.
No.
loss.
Demir is going to be like a top 5 fighter for sure. It's unfortunate that he had like this whole COVID thing is going on and kind of stunting his growth. Did he have a fight scheduled? No, he does not. He didn't have his fight scheduled. But yeah, he's 29. He's fucking I'm really looking forward to him going back into the UFC. What do we got next? Fuck Thiago Moises. Andre Arlovski versus Philippe Lins. A lot of people seem to think that Lins won this fight. I haven't gone back and watched it yet.
Yeah, neither
But
have
there's
I.
2:30-27s for Andre Arlovski, 1:29-28. When I was studying for this fight, my issue with Philippe Lins was the fact that he sometimes is over-calculated, where he's just waiting too much, and then he finally fucking throws, right? He has power when he throws, but he just waits way too much. Andre Arlovski is always moving, always throwing shit out there, so I could definitely see an instance where he could come out with a victory. Again, I gotta watch it again. I haven't completely scored it correctly. But yeah, it was more so Arlovski's movement, in my opinion, that would have got him the victory here, and his output compared to Philippe Lins continuously waiting. I thought the best bet here was the over 2.5. Like 9 out of 10 of Arlovski's last 10
I don't know
fights
how
have
he
gone
does
to
it.
a
As a
decision.
heavyweight, why is he always
Especially
going to
with their
decision?
narrative that he came into the UFC, back into the UFC with a iffy chin, right? He did get knocked out a couple times in the UFC.
That was the story in
right?
2011 on Arlovski's chin. We're 9 years later.
And he's still doing
And
the damn
not
thing.
only is he still doing it, but he's not getting put out.
Put out by Rosenstrike 2 fights ago. Put out by Francis Ngannou 3 years ago. Got rear naked choke. Got TKO'd by Overeem. Got TKO'd by Miocic. So, okay, in 2016, remember that run that he had, though, when he came back to the UFC? So he lost to Anthony Johnson, WSOF 2 in 2013, and then beat Kyle, beat some fucking Greek guy, beat Shaw, beat Bigfoot, beat Travis Brown.
Brendan Schaub. Let's be real.
beat Frank
He
Mir.
lost that fight.
6 in a row to go up and
No,
fight
not
Stipe.
6 in a row, 5-1.
Come on. You know what I mean? I'm pretty certain that was the fight before Stipe fought for the title.
Yeah, it was. That was
Right?
Stipe got the title shot.
So could you imagine if Arlovski actually went out there and beat?
Yeah, he would have.
He would have gotten a title shot in
Yeah, he probably would've been
2016.
crushed. Probably
by
would have
Verdum.
got crushed.
But Verdum, though.
Oh yeah, he could have outpointed Verdum. Jesus
Could you imagine if we
Christ.
had Andre Arlovski
As the
as the
champion
heavyweight
in
champion
2017 or something?
2016? Holy
insane.
fuck, we were that close. But Stipe Miocic actually put a stamp on that fight. But look at the stretch of guys that he beat, though, right? Schaub, okay, whatever.
At the time, the Travis Brown fight was big because Brown was like still a top tier heavyweight and was a heavy favorite.
Oh, yeah,
you
that
remember
was a
that?
crazy fight, dude.
Yeah.
That was one
And
of the. I need to
Arlovski
watch
was
that
a
one
big
again.
underdog. He was like a 2.5 to 1 underdog.
Well, he was Brown was just coming off that Verdum loss and the Schaub win. So
yeah,
not
exactly.
bad,
He
not
was
bad.
still
Yeah,
top tier.
He was still top tier at
Verdum
the
was a
time.
monster back then.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Crazy to think where Arlovski could have been had he actually beaten Stipe at that point. But yeah, he comes out there, beats a PFL champion. Philippe Lins actually won the $1 million thing the year before. So he's, I think he just wants to come into the UFC, try to see if he can expand his potential
And
earnings.
if I'm in PFL and I win a tournament, I'm just going to keep re-entering that fucking tournament and winning $1 million.
That could, but you got to think that some of these fighters are like, okay, I think if I can win this, I could probably go to the UFC, become a champion, and then make even more than just $1 million.
Man, winning a PFL $1 million tournament versus becoming a UFC champion, way harder. That's
Oh, of
night
course,
and day.
easy.
Yeah.
But think about the confidence and belief some of these
Yeah, that's fair
these
enough.
guys have after winning a tournament, right?
But
So-
if it's just about the money, just stay in PFL. But I guess if you want to
again,
if
for
you
the
want to
money,
scratch that
UFC.
competitive itch, though, you got to go to the UFC.
There's a competitive itch, but there's also the financial possibilities that are there too.
If you make it,
If
to
you
the
make
top.
it, if
yeah,
you make
and you
it.
can hold that. Overeem making $800K a fight to fucking fight guys like mid tier heavyweights. That's
Exactly.
amazing.
It's a
Way
possibility.
better than PFL. Yeah.
Ricky Simon versus Ray Borg. Another fight we probably should have done a deciding splits on this, but
Yeah, right.
a lot of people thought that Ricky Simon won this fight, and I'm okay
No,
with
you
that.
mean Borg.
Well, I think pretty much all the scores I saw out there were for Simone. But I didn't see as much of an outcry for Borg.
Here's a funny thing. I wasn't watching it too intently to score it, but to me, it felt like Simone was pressing with the grappling, getting in his face, but Borg was landing cleaner. So I was kind of like, when the decision got announced, I was like, oh, that's a bad decision. But then when I went online, I saw pretty much everyone scored it for Simone. So I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't watch it properly. And
there was definitely not as big of an outcry for Borg as there has been for Hill.
I thought there was going to be like, oh, Borg got screwed, but nope. All right, cool. Maybe we should rewatch that at some point. But
decent win for Ricky Simone there.
Dude, this next fight.
Yeah, Drew Dober versus Alexander Hernandez.
Okay,
man.
I made one bet on this fight card, and it ended up being fucking Anthony Smith over Glover. And this was the one I really wanted to. Like, this was the one where I was Dober? Like, man, I really like Dober at minus 120 over Hernandez, and I didn't pull the trigger. And then he goes in and does exactly what I thought. I thought he's going to win the striking. He's going to get in his face and clip him. I didn't think he was going to finish him like that, but I was like, fuck, man. You could almost call that fight out right before it started. Dober,
a lot of people are calling recency bias on Drew Dober as to why the betting line was so close, because he went out there and dusted a minus 300 favorite against Nasser
He's actually been looking good.
He's looking great. His hands are looking a lot good too. Even the
fight he lost to Dariush, he was beating the shit out of Dariush until Dariush got him down. People don't remember that. He was actually about to finish Dariush. Dariush got dropped.
He heard him.
And he like flopped to his back and guard or something, right?
He was, when I watched it back, it didn't look as bad as I initially had thought.
But he was getting fucked up.
He definitely was winning that fight before he got finished there, that's for sure. And then Hernandez is most famously known for fucking dusting Benio Dariush, and his career has just been
and the thing is, with the odds that close, I was like, Hernandez should be on a 2-fight losing streak. He lost to Cerrone, he got a gift against Trinaldo, and now he's getting a similar fighter to Trinaldo, except Dober's more in your face. And he's like a slight
My only concern here for Dober was if Hernandez was able to like grapple fuck him.
Yeah, get him down.
And that's the funny thing about Dober too, is though he was a striker coming into the UFC, turned into a grappler, because most of his fights that he started winning after that was by taking these people down and grinding them out. And then he started to believe in his hands again. And now he's like knocking people out.
Now he's getting better. I didn't think Hernandez would hold him down. The Dober's been getting way better at that, so.
I'm glad that he pulled out the victory. I picked him to win there, so I wish I actually bet him in there too.
I know, man.
Ben Rothwell versus OSP, very weird fight. Didn't pay the closest of attention to this fight either.
It was boring, dude. OSP just fucking, what a frustrating guy to watch. He does nothing all his fights. And he still gasses somehow.
I feel like this doesn't have many repercussions for the heavyweight division after this fight.
This is a fight where it's like the loser doesn't go up, the winner doesn't go up. Nobody gives a fuck.
Like it's kind of like Lewis and Latifi, right?
It happened. Who gives a shit? Yeah. Let's move on.
Get him a paycheck. Let's move him back on. Get OSP back down to 205. And then the main event. This one was a little bit harder to watch than I had initially expected. Glover going out there and doing old man shit.
Dude, I told going into this fight on paper, there was absolutely no reason Anthony Smith should lose this fight. He's coming off a win off of Gus. Glover, always the slower fighter on the feet. He's always slower with his hands. He's always getting tagged. He uses his toughness to tough it out and then eventually get guys to the ground and fuck them up on the ground. I didn't think he was going to get Smith down as long as Smith was, doing what he needed to do. And then on the feet, I didn't even think it would be close, which was correct until about, the end of the second round, because Smith decided, I'm just going to never stop throwing for 8 minutes. Let's see how that works out for me in a 25-minute fight. Like, what the fuck was that? That was some of the dumbest fighting I've seen.
Smith, very questionable fight IQ coming into the fight, and
incredibly terrible.
Weird thinking that he's going to get Glover out of there quickly. He's never been a notorious round winner though. Like he always goes out there and kind of out cardios his opponent, and then eventually finishes them.
He generally does nothing for the first 2 rounds, and then just finishes the guys in the third.
You can't expect him to go out there and win a decision.
He's listless.
You got to think that he's going to go out there and finish his opponents.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But
when's the last time?
Though.
I don't remember the last time you saw the Gus fight. That's what I mean. When's the last time you saw the Gus fight in terms of how he actually got that finish? That was such a weird finish.
The finish, fine, but even before that, he was winning the fight. I think it was up 2-1.
I don't recall how I scored that fight.
He was pressing well, but he wasn't throwing all that crazy kind of. He was getting in Gus's face, throwing. He fought well. This fight, he went back to the old Anthony Smith, kind of. Well, not really in the sense of he made a different mistake, but
his fights are either outside of the John Jones fight. A lot of his fights are finish or get finished, right?
Yeah,
look in 48 matches. He's only got a decision 4 times.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, fair enough, but. like it's disappointing in that he should have won. Like you don't leave the Glover fight thinking Glover was the better fighter. You think he just toughed it out and then fucked him up. I that's what's disappointing about that. Like
Glover's
how
like,
the fuck do you beat Alexander Gustafsson and then come back and lose to Glover? What?
Yeah.
The 41-year-old Glover Teixeira? Come on, man. Anthony Smith should not be losing that fight. So for me, I didn't think it was super impressive by Glover because it's just Glover doing what Glover fucking does. This is what Glover does.
You kind of got to be impressed with that. He's able to go into the 5th round still and have the. Well, I guess what the stupid game plan of Anthony Smith. Obviously, he's going to make it to the 5th
because
round.
by the time the 3rd round hit, Anthony Smith was a zombie.
Yeah.
That fight should have probably been stopped way sooner. He was literally doing like walking backwards to the cage and then staying stationary. That's not impressive to me by Glover. Glover toughed it out, but up until that 7 or 8 minute mark, he was getting hit more. He was definitely losing.
He was so slow. Like he's always going to be the slower fighter.
Yeah,
going
he was
in
the
right?
fight. Yeah,
so obviously he's going to keep getting hit, but
but like Smith just kept throwing, and nothing he threw was even going to knock out Glover. So you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What's wrong with your pace here? Then
I'd say Carl Roberson and Ion Cutelaba are much more power hitters than Anthony Smith. So I'm not sure what. I'm sure Smith.
Hitters.
I'm sure Smith was like, okay, I saw them rock him. Maybe I'll be able to rock him too, and actually finish him compared to those guys who weren't able to.
But he wasn't throwing like crazy power strikes. He was just doing that volume striking, but he just wouldn't stop throwing. And you're like, this is not looking good. Even DC was like, dude, his corner won't shut the fuck up. And he keeps responding to them. And like, this doesn't look like a good pace. Like DC was calling it out. So this fight to me, it didn't elevate Glover. It just really hurt Anthony Smith's stock.
You got to think that it's elevated Glover in terms of the rankings.
Yes, 100%.
Right? This gets him closer to a title shot.
But are you coming out of this fight going, wow, this is an amazing resurgence for Glover Teixeira. He looked better than ever. No, he looked like fucking Glover Teixeira, man. Yeah.
What's that? 4 straight now for him. That's crazy.
Yeah, which is impressive. But he just looked like Glover.
Yeah.
Nothing more impressive than that. He just looked like regular old Glover, and Anthony Smith at this point in his career should have easily won this fight.
I think with Anthony Smith, it's heavily perfect time, perfect place in terms of his run at light heavyweight.
Oh yeah.
Like
that's
you come into light heavyweight in June 2018, beat Rashad Evans, beat Shogun Hua, beat Volkan Ozdemir, who had just come off a title fight, I believe it was.
The Volkan fight was decent. But for sure, beating Gus the way he did, that was when I was like, okay, this guy actually is top tier skill wise. And I still believe that. But his problem is his mental.
I don't know, man. I want to see his next fight, who he does come back against.
When you look at him skill wise, it's all there. His mental is clearly not there. Like his IQ, he has this thing in fights where he just does nothing and then suddenly wakes up. There's a big mental problem going on there. He needs to fucking fix it.
But it's crazy to think that he's
got the
48 fights into his career and he still hasn't been able to
that's
really
a huge
figure
problem.
it out.
He's got the skills, man. If you beat Gus and finish him like that, who else beats Gus?
Like most of those, like that 7 fight streak that he had there, where he beats Mutapcic, Andrew Sanchez is a notorious gasser, which is why he beat him in the 3rd round. Hector Lombard, another notorious gasser, he gets finished in the 3rd round. Thiago Santos loses that fight, and then the next 3 fights, Chinny, and then Volkan Ozdemir, who gasses out after he's not able to finish Anthony Smith earlier in the fight. Right? Again, perfect time, perfect place for Anthony Smith. I don't know if he's going to get back to like title shot.
Yeah, I doubt it. After just the way you looked and the beating you took, that was just
losing
horrible.
Teeth and shit.
It's a bad look. I was a believer in Smith after the Gus fight, to tell you the truth. I wasn't really a believer before that. Like you said, didn't look like he was that much improved. It was just good that he moved up to light heavyweight, which was thin at the time. But that was a bad performance to me. I'm really sour on him after that.
In terms of the rankings now, they haven't updated, right? Yeah.
They take their sweet fucking
do they at
time.
least put when they've last updated it? Last updated Monday, May 11th. So this hasn't even been updated since the Glover fight. So Glover finds himself. Anthony Smith was number 4. Glover's number 8. You think that he's going to probably jump up to number 4 now? Because Corey Anderson's coming off loss too.
I would think Corey moves up to 4 and Glover takes the 5th
Corey does
spot.
have a victory over him too.
And then Smith goes down to probably like 6, right above Volkan.
There's so many unknowns now in the light heavyweight division because Jones is fucking around talking about going to 265, heavyweight. You could easily make an argument that it should be Reyes Jones 2 coming up next.
It should be. Skill-wise, it definitely should be that at light heavyweight. But it looks more and more likely that we're just going to get Jones and Ngannou. I mean, Ngannou ain't got shit to do at heavyweight.
I don't 100%.
If you're Francis, you're happy about that.
Of course. I don't 100% believe it's going to happen, though.
Fuck yeah, money, bro.
I'm not 100% sold on that happening yet. I don't know. I think it's more so talk right now.
Because I think Jones is throwing gas on the flames because he wants that paycheck and he wants a big fight. But he also wants the UFC to pay up.
The main thing during this whole interaction between them is money, the bag.
Jones even said he's like
talking about.
He's like, I'll fight Reyes, but if I'm not going to get more money to do it, then I'm just going to fight the next in line, which is Yan.
Yeah.
And I get it. And for fuck's sakes, when we're talking about John Jones, no one can accuse him of being scared of anybody or running.
Shut up.
You know what I mean? Like, you totally believe him when he says that.
So in terms of where Glover is asserted into this now, you got to think his next fight is either Reyes, Jan Blachowicz, or Thiago Santos. Right? And then one of those three is probably going to fight John Jones next.
I was thinking Yan. I would think for sure you would do Yan and Glover if Yan's not going to get the title shot, which he shouldn't. It should be Jones versus Reyes or Jones versus Ngannou. Like, those are the only two Jones fights I think they should make.
They could probably get away with booking Yan Jones as well too.
They could. I just don't think they should. But here's the thing: Glover either fights Yan or Dominic, depending on which one's not taken. I think that's the fight to make. Yeah.
4-fight winning streak. You've asserted yourself in the top 5-ish by now.
Yeah.
Those are the next two matchups that make sense. There aren't many other guys that have like a legitimate win streak in this division, right?
That's light heavyweight for you at all times.
How crazy is that?
You get fucking 2 wins and you're in a title fight.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to see. And Thiago Santos should be ready to come back. Who the fuck is this guy going to fight?
Yeah. Fuck, he's ready. Been out for so long, yeah.
Last year, it was a year.
July, I think.
And Thiago Santos is a guy who likes to fight every 3 months too, so he's probably itching to get back in there.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. Fuck this division right now. It's boring anyway.
All right, let's move on to the Saturday card real quick. Let me get that. Overeem versus Harris. We'll start off at the bottom of the card. So this happened 2 days ago now. Fuck, I can't believe it's already been that long. Yesterday it flew the fuck by. But Rodrigo Nascimento versus Dante Mays. We didn't really get to see that fight.
Whoever those guys are.
Both actually Nascimento debuting, Dante Mays coming off that Sorogan loss. Good one for Nascimento. Obviously get the fight to the ground, get the submission. That's what he needed to do. I'm surprised he even made it to the second round. Courtney Casey versus Marella. Good submission victory for her there. Plus 600, I think it was, on Courtney Casey to win inside the distance. So big submission victory there for her. Doesn't do too much for the flyweight division. Don't really give a fuck about those two fighters. Courtney Casey is always going to be one of those up and down fighters. Marella, she seemed to have turned a little bit of a corner with that Taylor Santos win. After that, she loses to Lauren Murphy. Doesn't look the best. Next up, Nate Lanois versus Darren Elk. This was a crazy fucking fight.
It was fun.
A lot of people are saying, well, not a lot of people, but I have seen the argument out there that people think Elkins won.
I heard a lot of outcry superficial.
About this. I don't know. I gotta watch that fight again to really know, but I didn't see a huge issue with it.
Apparently,
from what I saw, it looked like Lanois was letting the better shots.
Apparently, the fact that Nate got a 30-27 times 2 was ridiculous, because apparently, like, round 1 or something was so obviously Elkins, and they're like, how the fuck do you score that for him? So
yeah.
That is interesting.
I love Nate, man. I can't wait for you to continue seeing more of this guy. Like, he's such a weirdo, such a funny fucking guy. The train fucking kills me. Giga Chikadze versus Erwin Rivera. Good one for Chikadze. Obviously, super late notice for Erwin Rivera to take that fight. If most people don't know, Rivera was the Titan FC bantamweight champion before coming over to the UFC. So I'm sure his next fight will be down at 135, and you can definitely see the size difference if you remember that fight. He was giving up a 6-inch height advantage to Giga Chikadze. And Chikadze's a slightly a taller featherweight than normal, but still, it just looked crazy. So good one for him there. Kevin Holland versus Anthony Hernandez.
Starched him.
39 seconds. I knew this fight was going to be good for as long as it lasted. Hit that under 2.5. I don't know why the fuck people are thinking that should have been lined at 2.5. But either way, good win for Kevin Holland. I thought Anthony Hernandez was going to come out there and win, but something with his body, man. Like, I'm pretty sure it was a knee that initially hurt him to the body, and then Holland just followed up.
Swarmed him.
But even the fight that Hernandez lost before that, the fight before this, he beat some Korean guy. The fight before that, he lost to Marcus Perez. If you remember that guy. But Marcus Perez landed a beautiful liver kick, hurt him, and then eventually worked and got a Darce choke. So it's like he's kind of like a Matt Brown, where he's like, he just keeps getting hurt to the body, which is weird as fuck. But a big one for Kevin Holland there. He needed to bounce back. Miguel Beza trying to make a stamp for himself against Matt Brown.
It was a fun back and
Looked
forth.
looked very tough at the beginning there. They actually won. Beza won performance of the night, but yeah, it looked a little bit sketchy there for Beza beginning due to the fact that Matt Brown was continuously coming forward, landing some good shots. Rocked Beza a little bit, but Beza was able to pull through. Got a quick finish in that second round. 18 seconds into that. Any thoughts on Beza?
No, he looks good.
He looks crisp.
He's young. Needs to shore up a couple of defensive holes,
issues.
But outside of that, tons of promise.
His striking looked really good.
Yeah,
it really blew my mind that Matt Brown went from plus 180 to plus 105 in the matter of a couple hours, just because people are completely running off the young guy here.
The story of Matt Brown is what he does to the young up and comers. He's that test, and most people fail the test.
Yeah,
so
he gave Wonder Boy his first loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did that.
He's beaten some guys, but you got to think his last couple wins have been a couple
and he's old
kind of
now,
sketchy. You know what I mean?
Especially
hurt to the body by Diego Sanchez, and then a tougher fight against Ben Saunders than it should have been.
Bro, he got finished by Jake Ellenberger.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
Poor Matt Brown. So it's a little bit of a backtrack for Matt Brown here. It's probably just for the money now. Do they even have the salaries that came out for this?
No, Matt Brown doesn't fight for the money. Matt Brown fights because he's a fucking savage and he likes fighting, dude.
But he retired, then came back.
He retired because of the concussion issues from the Cowboy fight, and then I guess he was feeling a little better. But he's just doing it for fun. This is not.
Stop calling fucking retirements. I'm so tired of that shit. Just say that I'm taking a hiatus. I'm okay with a hiatus. Don't call it a retirement. All right. First fight on the main card, Song Yadong versus Marlon Vera. We went over the decision. So if you guys want to know about the decision and how we thought about it or what we thought about it, check out the deciding splits. But good one for Yadong. And getting a veteran name like Marlon Vera under his name or under his belt. Even though this fight happened at featherweight, everybody knows this will probably affect the bantamweight rankings, which is good for him. I like Yadong. The only thing he really needs to shore up is his cardio. He throws with heat. He's an entertaining fighter. His skills are all there. This is his 22nd fight now at 21 years old or 22 years old.
He should get better at getting back up off the ground from his Stamen fight, and then his cardio a bit, his pacing issues. But those are two things that he can easily shore up, and he's at alpha male, which is the right thing to shore up those types of holes. So
he took the words out of my fucking mouth, dude. Exactly. Krzysztof Jotko versus Eric Anders. Good one for Jotko. Didn't seem like there's a huge outcry in terms of Anders winning that fight. We thought it was super close when the judges' scorecards were being read.
No, for me, while watching that fight, I thought Jotko definitely won. I was just worried that the judges would look at that forward pressure of Anders and think that he was doing better than he was. Because while I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, Jotko's clearly winning this, but I could see bad judging swaying it. So I was worried about that, but no worries put the rest. They all gave it to Jotko, which I thought was the right call.
It's so tough to back Eric Anders when all you're really hoping for is him to knock out his opponent.
Yeah.
That's kind of his path to victory in most of his fights, right? He's not that decision fighter that goes out there and outpoints his opponents.
And his skill seems to have just peaked. He's not getting any better.
The Machida fight was probably the peak of his career at this point. It's crazy that he even got that fight. A main event against fucking Lyoto Machida.
He arguably won it. A lot of people felt he won it.
It was a close fucking fight, but
it was a split for Machida, I believe.
That was his third fight in the UFC. He got a headlining spot. All he beat was Rafael Natal and Marcus Perez.
Then he kind of laid an egg against all these other guys.
He almost lost that fight against Tim Williams. Tim Williams was doing very good against him, and then he finally finished him with 18 seconds left.
He probably should have got the nod against Elias because Elias kind of just held him for 2 rounds, and then the one round that he won, he really hurt Elias and had him on wobbly legs. So,
yeah, the Mearshart fight was a questionable decision as well too.
Questionable?
And then
that was 100% Gerald. Gerald won that fight.
And then the Mohea fight, that was easy for him to just go in and dust that guy.
Because after that fight, Gerald went in as an underdog against Wynn, and we're all like,
so dumb.
I don't know about this.
So dumb. Dan Ige versus Barboza. This is another one where we did a deciding split. So if you guys want to know how we felt about that, go check that video out. But good one for Dan Ige here.
Yeah,
this is a solid win, a solid name to get under his belt.
I've been watching Dan Ige now for about the last 3-4 fights closely, and I like his little rise. And I was pulling for him. This was a good name for him to get on his resume, and I was happy that he got the win.
6 straight wins with guys like Mirsad Bektik and Edson Barboza under your.
Oh, and
under
for
your
everyone
belt.
thinking that this he shouldn't have won this, and he's not on a 6-fight win streak. Go rewatch the fight. He did win this fight.
He won this fight.
He won this fight. Yeah.
Spoiler alert: he won this fight.
Round 2. Baby. Dan Ige.
But yeah, that's 6 straight wins for him. 145er. Who I don't know who could be next for him. Like, let's
The
see.
only problem is his last 2 are splits, so you can't move him up too much. But you got to give him a good fight.
So it's 145. He's number 15. I wouldn't mind him against Sodiq Yusuff. That's not bad.
Yeah, geez. Where's Yusuf at?
14.
No, I mean, where the fuck is he at?
Oh, yeah. In terms of fighting, what was his last one? Gabriel Benitez? Sodiq Yusuff. Who the fuck did he fight last?
Oh, yeah. Wasn't it Feely?
No, I feel like he had a fight after that. Oh, he did.
Yeah, he hasn't fought since. It's been over a year.
No, dude, he fought in January. UFC 246.
Oh, that was like 4 months ago.
So, yeah, I wouldn't mind that fight. Like, because you can't really give too much credit in this Barboza fight just strictly due to the fact that, yeah, it's a good name, Barboza, but that's his debut in the division too, right?
And it's a
So
close fight. It was a close fight.
You can't really launch Dan Ige up there. Like, Jose Aldo is number 11. So you don't want to, like, go out there and be like, okay, Dan Ige versus Shane Burgos now or some shit. I wouldn't mind him against Yusuf. I wouldn't mind him against Arnold Allen either. Just slowly start working your way up the rankings. It's crazy that Aldo's number 11,
I was
though,
about to say, why the fuck is Aldo in the featherweight rankings? Get him out of there.
That's weird. But yeah, you got to give him a step up now. I think Sodiq is a good step up. Barboza's, again, skillful. He's really good. But he just doesn't have a state in the featherweight division.
If you're 15, though, and you're on a 6-fight winning streak, you get at least top 10. Like, he should skip those 11 to 15 guys.
Who, Josh Emmett? Actually, I wouldn't mind the Emmett fight. I would not mind the Emmett fight.
Danny Gay versus Emmett, like...
I'm okay with that.
Dude, 6-fight win streak, I need to climb these fucking rankings now. I'm not fighting 13 or 14. That's how I look at it.
What's Yusuf at now? Because he has a little bit of a win streak as well, too.
Not. But Yusuf's also not that active. Dan Igue's got a 6... Dan Ige, I believe, is tied for the second longest win streak in the UFC right now. Like, come on, man. Wow. You got to get...
Look at this. 6 straight wins for him, too.
But he's not active.
4 of them in the UFC.
Yeah, well,
he fought 3 times in 2018, 2 times in 2019. Jeez, Tony, you're fucking shopping this shit.
It's only been like 4 months since he fought, and I'm like, yo, be more active.
He doesn't fight enough. He fought in March last year, August of last year, then January this year.
He's actually pretty active.
Come on, Tony.
It's a good schedule. It's fine. All right, whatever. Fine.
Jesus, I give him some love.
Both these guys should get like top rank guys though. Don't fight each other.
But these are 3 solid names too. Shaman Moraes, Gabriel Benitez, Andre Fili. I wouldn't mind them fighting themselves. I wouldn't mind.
No.
Yusuf versus Ige. You don't want to chop off 2 prospects.
Streaks are too long, and when you have a streak like that, you got to fight up in the rankings. Like, you got to get a top 10 guy. Give someone Jeremy Stevens or something like that. You know, something like.
I'm cool with that.
Shane Burgos hasn't fought since his Cub win. I don't know what he's doing. Is he just trying to? There's a guy who's been inactive. Like, come on, do something, bro.
You know what? Let's
big wins.
Let's crash that real quick. Let's see what Burgos has actually been up to.
You know what? In terms of styles, though, Yusuf versus Burgos would be a fucking banger.
Yeah, that'll be a fun.
Fun fight.
I feel like he also did have something scheduled before this COVID shit.
Oh yeah. I always forget the Amir Khani win. I keep thinking his last fight is Cub. I never remember that he fought Amir
Give him
Khani.
his credit, dude. That's 2 fights in 2019.
Yeah.
As long as they're fighting at least twice a year, I'm not going to say they're inactive.
No, man.
At least,
fine.
minimum 2 times a year.
I feel like if you're not a champion 3 times a year, and if you're a champion 2 times a year.
I agree. So big win for Ige. He should definitely get a step up in competition. I'm happy with Barboza at featherweight. I wouldn't mind to see him continuously go there again.
No, like, I almost forgot that he was debuting at a new weight class. Like, it was Barboza. He looked exactly really like Edson Barboza.
Yeah. So go ahead, try the featherweight experiment a little bit longer.
Sure,
I'm completely okay with that.
To spice things up in your life, if that's what you need to do. Because we've seen your peak.
Yeah,
we know what you're capable of at lightweight.
Who knows if he has a little bit more of a resurgence here at featherweight? Maybe this was the first one to really get it in. There's no Khabib. There's a Volkanovski, though, so we'll see about that. Claudia Gadelha versus Angela Hill, another one we covered on Deciding Split, so make sure you guys go check that shit out. We have to assume, like, we had Hill winning that fight, but Claudia Gadelha gets the victory here. how does she move forward?
But here's the thing with Claudia, right? It's just all sideways for her. It's a sideways step because you're beating someone not ranked by split decision. Most people thought you lost. She's not going to get a fight up in the rankings or anything. They're going to try and feed a young up-and-comer to her.
Give me all of this. Either I think they're actually supposed to schedule a fight already. Marina Rodriguez versus Claudia Gadelha. I'm completely okay with that. Or even Yan Xiaonan against Claudia Gadelha. I'm completely okay with that too.
Esparza seem to be down for a rematch. I don't know why Claudia would want that rematch.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, they're talking shit, so maybe they do that. But yeah, sideways step for Claudia. Same thing over and over. She has no cardio.
This division is all the top 5 though. Like Zhang, Andrade.
Yeah,
Rose, Tatiana, Ioana.
Yeah,
outside of that, it's a big dip. Like you have Rodriguez and Yan that are slowly kind of trying to come up and make a statement for themselves, but everybody else, like Amanda Ribas is another one that's slowly making a name for herself too, but it's still got a little bit to go. But yeah, I think
this fight, it looked exactly like how you expected it to go for the most part.
They should just take Nina off though, because she's not going to fight for a little bit because she has she's pregnant. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yes, just Claudia's sideways step. If anything, her stock got hurt in this fight. I actually think Hill came out looking better because it feels like Hill should just be plugged right into the top 6, top 7 right now, and she's not even.
Why
ranked
is Felice Herrig still there? Like,
and how is Angela Hill not ranked if Felice Herrig is in there? That's insane.
What has Felice been up to?
How the fuck is Angela Hill not ranked? That's insane.
I'm surprised that Herrig is ranked. 2 straight losses to Carolina.
Oh, okay. So Angela Hill is on like just fighting every 2 months and winning, and Felice Herrig hasn't won a fight since a split decision 2.5 years ago, and she's ranked, but Angela Hill is
doesn't
not.
make sense.
It's that's ridiculous.
They should take her out of them. Yeah, I like Claudia against either Rodriguez or Xiaonan. And for Hill, I wouldn't mind her if she wants. Why not just do her against Amanda Ribas? I wouldn't mind that either, just to finally hopefully crack into it. Or even Alexa Grasso versus Angela Hill. I wouldn't mind that either.
Why not?
That's a solid fight.
I just hope Hill does get a fight up in the rankings. She deserves it. She should be coming off the win. I think she should be on a 4, potentially 6 fight win streak, depending on that Zan fight, how people scored it. Yeah. And she just beat number 6. So I do feel a little bad for her, because especially with how active...
I'm sorry. I had to do it.
I do feel bad for her though, because she's been so active and putting in that work. You feel like she should be rewarded at this point. So I do hope they give her a good fight moving up, because she should have won that.
Main event time: Alistair Overeem versus Walt Harris. Before we get into the fight, though, man, it was a little bit of overkill with that fucking Nia Blanchard.
It was 100% overkill.
Like,
and
we're not trying to
happen. Like, we knew it was going to happen.
We're not trying to be insensitive or anything like that. But I did tweet something out after that, and a lot of people are saying the same shit. They're like, "How are you going to continuously keep have one video package of it? Cool. Now leave it."
Okay, what people don't understand is when you do that, you desensitize people to it. Do you think how many people are now sitting there when Anya's package comes up, like her video package, and they're just rolling their eyes? Is that the reaction you want people to have when they're talking about this girl who got killed in a tragic murder? Like, no, you don't want the reaction. But when you fucking stuff it down everyone's face all the time, you're going to get that. Like, okay, enough is enough. We get it. Like, do we have to have this beaten over our head? And on top of that, it wasn't... How relevant was it to Walt Harris's career here of, like, fighting? Do you know what I mean? Like, did it have to... it's his comeback. I get it, but... Man, make it more about the fight, maybe. And touch on the Anya thing. But this whole thing was all about Anya. And, like, the fight was just kind of secondary. It was just...
One thing we have to do, one thing we also have to take into consideration, we also have to take into consideration that we pretty much watched all 11 or 12 of these fights, whereas some people might just be viewing in for the main card.
Too. But if you're a hardcore man, that's getting beaten over your head. It's constantly Walt Harris talking about this horrible murder.
Maybe just mention it at the beginning of the prelims and then the beginning of the main card, and then you can include a little bit of it in the video package right before the main event. Completely okay with that. But this was like... almost after every single fight.
What happens with you start to kind of lose your sympathy and empathy because you're just getting annoyed with it now. Like, the reaction you're trying to get from people is you're having the opposite effect. You can't beat it over the head. It's just too much.
Yeah, it was a little bit too much. And you got to feel for Walt too, in a sense that he's seeing all this stuff backstage. Like, they have they have TVs and all that stuff, and people are watching the fight. So obviously they're going to see this type of coverage. So you got to think that's going to fuck with them regardless. But getting to the actual fight itself, like you can see skill for skill that Alistair Overeem blows this guy out of the water. And it's so sad that the betting odds don't really reflect that. Look, it's all in Alistair's chin. That's all it is.
I think we both felt it. Even the people I'm hearing making bet picks, they were all kind of like, Overeem as an underdog to Walt Harris? I mean, it's sad, the whole Anya thing, but let's be real, skill for skill, these odds are ridiculous. And we felt the same way. I had Overeem. He was definitely the more skilled fighter. And like you said, the only way he's going to lose is if Walt Harris uses his athleticism and blitzes him and knocks him out standing. Because it's Overeem's chin versus his athleticism, which almost did happen. But if that wouldn't work, we knew every other aspect of this fight is totally in Overeem's favor. And it showed. Because he couldn't finish him. And as soon as he couldn't finish him, you could see he then got rocked on the feet. He was a fish out of water on the ground. It was just not a good look after that.
Recency bias is heavy here because his last two fights lasted a total of a minute and 2 seconds.
Who was he beating?
I know. But when you see these highlight videos of him just starching these guys, the money's going to come in on the guy that looks like he's a world beater compared to the guy who's just coming off a devastating-ish knockout loss.
Rosenstrike
with 4 seconds left.
Versus knocking out
Alexei Olenek, Sergey Spivak.
Spivak, who the fuck that? I don't know who that is, dude. And then Olenek. Olenek is terrible on the feet. Like,
I am impressed with the fact that Overeem was able to come back from that. Though he did get dropped, he did get hurt very.
Overeem never recovers.
First time we've ever seen it.
Overeem doesn't recover. He's not the guy to get dropped and rocked and then like pull guard and recover and then come back. He's the guy who, as soon as he gets wobbled, you're like, okay, here comes the end. Here comes, and there it is. He's gone to sleep. Yep, he's out. Overeem doesn't recover. No. Overeem somehow fucking recovered here, and there's a couple of times I thought he was out.
Yeah.
So I was close. I was definitely impressed with that. But then after that, it felt like he did what he should have done from the beginning, which was not entertain the stand-up and just take this guy to the ground.
It's hard both ways because if the ref did step in, the ref did have a good justification in terms of stepping in. We could have just been like, Overeem is completely shot. But now Overeem survives that, comes back and beats the piss out of
There was one point,
and everybody's like, it's so easy for Overeem. Is it though? Because he really had to like go through a lot of shit to get this victory.
Yeah, but that's also the problem with Overeem in general, where it's like, why do you always get clipped all the time?
Yeah.
Like,
even the Olenek fight, when he fought Olenek was like going off on him. He didn't really drop him, but he was allowing him to tee off on him. Does not look good. One of those gets through, you're going to get dropped.
This is my problem. He has this weird sense of he has no urgency in getting his face out of the way, even though he gets put out all the time. Like, if you're Tony Ferguson, I get why you don't care about getting your face out of the way because you don't go out.
Yeah.
But when you go out so easily, why the fuck are you so lackluster about leaving your face out there? Overeem still has that problem. To me, it really didn't elevate anybody. Walt Harris didn't look good coming out of this from a skill wise, but good for him. He took the fight. He got a payday. It was a big emotional toll on him. So fair enough. Like, no one's going to hold it against him. He'll get another fight. He can climb the rankings again. Overeem didn't look like he's in line for a title shot or anything. He didn't look better. Like, it was just a sideways movement.
He can continuously move sideways, and he's still going to be able to headline cards. People still want to go watch him fight. Guys, he's still making it known that he's kind of deserving of the 800,000 that they continuously give him just because his name value. Like,
he seems to draw in Europe, I think.
You don't want him to go to Bellator. That's the main thing. You got to think about these fighters that even if they're getting overpaid, but would they rather have them in the UFC and just continuously move sideways, or let them go and give a little bit more publicity, right?
Though, so I think they're okay with him.
There's that too. You got to also remember that they were initially booked to fight when Overeem fought Rosenstrike. And then Harris had to pull it. So this was a fight that was already booked before. So they were training for each other prior, obviously, before this whole Walt Harris shit happened.
I unfortunately with Harris though, like, you don't want to.
He's not going to get better.
I was going to say the same
thing.
He's
just like, athletic.
Coming out of this fight, especially, you don't want that to be the story. But what I saw was, this is your longest layoff. This was your run. This was your time to get good. You're 36, 37.
It wasn't that
athleticism. Actually, this is your time, and to come out and largely show no improvements. I mean, you almost did what
I'll give him the slight benefit of the doubt, because we got to remember that his the Anaya Blanchard stuff happened end of October.
But here's the thing,
that's roughly when he stopped training.
Even before the Anaya stuff, he looked like this. So it's not like there's any sort of improvement. Like we knew you're athletic, like you said, and you can blitz guys with your fast hands. But from a skill standpoint, we were always worried about your skill, especially on the ground, and it doesn't look like anything got much better.
No.
Like even when the fight ended, he could have tried to move, or he wasn't trying to get out.
Like he shows he has the tools, especially like in that Arlovsky fight. There wasn't as much output, or there was definitely no groundwork either, which is why he still ended up going on to win that fight. I think if Arlovsky took that to the ground, he probably would have had some success there, right? But that entire Arlovsky fight, I'm not sure how much of you remember of it, but I've just seen it recently. It was a lot of Walt just walking him down and feinting a lot and making Arlovsky scared just off the feints, and then every now and then he'll throw a strike here and there just to win on the judges. But he was the one moving forward. He wasn't working that hard, so his cardio was okay for 15 minutes, but it was mainly just walking forward, feinting, trying to hit Arlovsky more than Arlovsky was hitting him.
You see this fight, he really tried to get that Overeem finish, but he didn't go crazy for like 2 minutes, and he still gassed that badly. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's like, okay, you're clearly a fish out of water on the ground against any top tier heavyweight.
Yeah.
Your striking is your best asset, but even that might not, it probably doesn't, like technically it doesn't hold a candle to the top guys. And your cardio's not that great. So I don't see how he can beat any top 5 heavyweight realistically. So he's got to get really better to make any sort of a run at this point.
The top guy that he'd be able to have a chance against is Derek Lewis.
Because of skills.
Yeah.
But imagine Derek Lewis grabs him and throws him to the ground. It's over fast.
That's so true.
And Derek Lewis would probably take him down.
I'd be interested to see what happens if he fought Rosenstrike, because that would mainly stay on the feet. But obviously Rosenstrike would probably get the better of him. But at least that leaves an opening for Walt Harris to potentially get a knockout.
You want it to be like, you want to say positive things, but at the same time, when you're looking at him, like skill wise, cardio wise, age wise,
it's all athleticism. It's all size. It's all knockout power on certain guys. Like who has he actually knocked out? Oleinik, Spivak. Who are the other guys that he's finished? He had that decision victory over Andrei Arlovsky. He had a TKO finish over Daniel Spitz, who isn't the greatest either.
Mark Godbeer.
DQ illegal kick. I remember he illegally kicked him
super easily on the ground.
He took that fight the morning of, so I'll give him a little bit of slack. Remember they quickly changed that fight.
Still, like, do you remember?
Yeah,
Verdum got his back, transitioned to an easy armbar, and he tapped immediately. Like there was no resistance there.
Cyril Asker is my favorite guy to fade. Like always
Chase
betting
Sherman.
against the guy. Chase Sherman beats him there. Shamil Abdurakhimov in a split. I don't really remember that fight.
I remember that fight. Like he just didn't do much.
Interesting. But Shamil Abdurakhimov is a really good wrestler too, so I'm surprised he wasn't able to get him out there. Cody East, garbage. Soa Palele, I'm pretty certain he got on top of Walt and pounded him out.
Yeah, that's
and then before that, Nikita Krylov lost that fight in 25 seconds. Do you remember that one? He literally just put off I think it was a question mark kick.
I remember because Krylov was coming off that terrible loss to Palele, and everyone thought he was shit, and then he just wins that fight quick.
And then Jared Rosholt.
Yeah, so you look at we're approaching 6.5 years since his first UFC fight. I mean, if that's where your skills are at this point, it's not looking good. You're 37 years old.
Yeah.
I know heavyweight, you can last a little longer, but at this point in your career, your skills got to be higher up for the UFC. It's just standard, right? That's just where it is.
They're just lucky that with heavyweights, you can get away with having a less of a skill set just because you can rely on your knockout power.
Exactly. So
there's nothing really to look forward to in concrete right now.
Coming out of this card,
in terms of the next card as well, though, we have the most heavily rumored one is Gilbert Burns and Tyron Woodley, May 30th.
Let this be the last time I have to talk about Tyron Woodley. Fuck, man.
I'm completely okay with that too.
Done with this shit. He's like 37 or 38, right?
Yeah.
So, and all he wants is title fights because he's the best welterweight in the world, according to him.
For me, it's really frustrating.
Like he showed in his Usman fight how good he is.
For me, it's really frustrating when I'm seeing all the love that's out there for Woodley and making him seem like, the Usman fight is just an anomaly. He's not really looking like that. No, Usman made him look like that because Usman's that fucking good.
It's not an anomaly, though. He looks like that all the time. In the fucking Wonderboy fights, he puts his foot against the back cage and just dares you to come in and does nothing. He did it against Rory. What's your excuse all this time?
Burns definitely has the advantage to win here, and he's the dog, plus 130.
Hey, man, I'm big on Burns now.
His striking continues to look better.
I was not too sold on him being like this ultimate level grappler And but I will say the fact that Maya got on top, mounted him, and he still like defended properly and got right back up. I was like, holy fuck, he's better than I thought on the ground. That's for sure.
I was telling you like leading up to that.
Yeah.
Like watch out for this guy. Like his jiu-jitsu is good.
However, I do contend that I wasn't wrong in that assessment because he didn't go at Maya. He just defended well and got back up. He never tried to engage.
But he knew the advantage was on the feet.
Yeah,
so why make
enough.
why make it harder by going to the ground?
Yeah, no, that's fair. But my whole point was like he's not Maya level grappling in terms of like he's not going to go do what Maya does to people. Like that's what I meant.
This is a good fight to find out though, because if
I think it's going to be more of a stand up. I don't think there's going to be too much grappling.
I think Woodley's going to have to rely on his grappling to try to eke out some rounds here, because outside of the finish,
because activity wise, he's going to be in trouble.
Exactly. Burns is going to be throwing more. He's going to be landing more. As long as Burns doesn't get knocked out, this is a good fight for Burns to go out there and win and get a signature win here too. Especially at a division that he initially wasn't like. He was a lightweight. Now he's fighting at welterweight and getting all these big wins.
And you have really big wins. And he's looking good. I'm
Gunnar Nelson, Damian Maya, good wins.
Praying for fucking Gilbert. I'm just so done with Tyron. 37-38, only wants title fights. If he loses this, he knows he can't get a title fight for 2 years. I hope that means in his head, I should just go away now. Because what the fuck? What
We're
am I
12 days away. We're 12 days away from May 30th.
There's no card.
There's nothing officially announced. There's only like 4 fights that are like scheduled. Not even scheduled. They're rumored. Look at this.
Funny.
Woodley Burns, Sakai Ivanov, Mackenzie Dern versus Hannah Cyphers, and Clifton Brady versus Jamal Hill.
If this was like not COVID times, if it was just like 4 rumored fights for a card and it was like 5 weeks out, we'd be like, yo, what the fuck's going on? They need to get some fights out. Dude.
Remember UFC 230?
Yeah.
Where they're like struggling to fill that.
And it was like 5 weeks out. Yeah, it's like a month and you're like, where's the card? And now it's like 12 days out. We're like, what the fuck is this, dude?
Everybody's got to get this shit
Don't people need to know if they should be training?
Well, they're scheduling the UFC 250 fights. And even when they were promoting it on the card, it just kept saying date TBD. Venue TBD, location TBD. We're like, this shit's like 2 or 3 weeks away. What the fuck? So we've always known that
you think it's going to happen May 30th?
I think there's going to be a fight May 30th. I think they're trying to track down where it's either going to be Vegas or Arizona. I think those are the 2 spots that they're looking at.
It seems like they know more than they're letting on, but they just want to confirm a location.
But it would be nice if they fucking confirm the matchups at least, right?
But maybe the fighters at least know. They have to. They can't fucking do 2-week camps or 10-day camps.
June 6th is 3 weeks away. That's when they, like, even before this COVID shit happens, they said June 6th was going to be UFC 250. So I'm not sure why they didn't actually, like, put that on the broadcast too. That this is for sure going to happen on June 6th unless there's something happening behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Maybe just a venue as well.
Decent
Seeing
card.
if Vegas opens up.
Yeah. Decent card. Nunes, Spencer, Formiga, Perez, Clark, Menefield, Mearshart, Heinisch, and Bird Pitolo. Not a pay-per-view card worthy. So they should definitely hopefully have other big fights lined up and scheduled for this, because you could get away with 2 of those on the main card. Obviously the championship out because this is a championship fight, but for Formiga and Perez, I'd be okay with that, with being like the curtain jerker for the prelim or for the main card. I would not mind that. Mearshart versus Heinisch would be fun, but that's like a prelim fight. Let's be honest.
Yep.
They're just not that well known. And then there's another one supposed to be for June 13th. These ones you can't really look at because this was supposed to be the one in Kazakhstan. We don't know if that's obviously going to happen yet, right? Mm-hmm. The other one they had was UFC 251, which is their July card. They had one rumored fight for it. What was it? Abdurrahimov versus Gunn. So we don't even know if that's going to happen yet either. Here's another thing actually. June is when Fight Island is scheduled to open. It was like rumored to have scheduled to open.
Oh, interesting. I thought
that's every time Dana has talked about Fight Island, he said June.
Interesting.
So we're really close to that. We don't know 100% if it's going to happen for sure or not, but that's where all the international fighters would be fighting.
Yep.
And U.S. fighters can be fighting international fighters on that card too.
Yeah, they can go to the island.
So, I could definitely see the Russian fighters, a lot of them coming over there and fighting.
It's going to be interesting now over the next week to see. They got to announce this soon.
I'm sure, but like before the next time we sit down here next week, we will have some news regarding at least the May 23rd card.
Yeah.
Right? How did you like this 3-fight stretch?
Oh, I loved it, man.
Right?
Give me all the fights. I'm happy to get fights at any time.
I'll
never argue about.
personally, I was slightly demoralized after 249 in the Wednesday cards, like betting wise, just nothing pretty much hitting for me. And then obviously it was a much better having the Saturday card go very well for me.
Well on that. My DraftKings thing was weird though, where I thought I would win like a few hundred, maybe even $1,000, and then I'm like, what? I won like
I saw a couple lineups. People had like Overeem, Beza, Casey. They had like 4 of the finishes at least.
Yeah, because the ones they won, but they were like winning split decisions, and even like I have to look at the scoring for DraftKings, but I believe the fact that even though he won if he got a finish, the fact that he got dropped in the first round hurts his scoring, doesn't it?
I'm not 100% sure about that because that gives more points to Harris.
Okay, it doesn't detract from Overeem.
I doesn't think it subtracts.
I got you.
I don't think it subtracts anything.
See, I don't even know. I just kind of picked the line.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, let's see what I get.
It's so tough for me to do the DraftKings stuff. Like, I don't even bother. Like, people are putting in hundreds of lineups. Hundreds.
That's a little ridiculous.
Like, they just keep saying, okay, I'm going to make sure I have at least 30% Matt Brown. I'm going to have 60% Matt Capitola. Like, they're just picking against the guys that they're picking in other lineups, too, to try to get the perfect one. I don't have the time to sit there and fucking be like, I'm gonna do these many lineups and make sure I have this percentage of this guy, this percent, and then you gotta work with the salary cap. Fuck that shit.
So
just give me the odds.
This was literally the second time I've ever done DraftKings, and both times I've won a little bit. So I'm like, why do I keep forgetting about this? Like, it's not hard to just log in, pick 6 fighters, and select it, and then that's it. Done with it. I'm still gonna stick with I like my traditional betting, but why not? Why the fuck not? If I'm gonna win by doing nothing, just selecting 6 names, I'll do this.
Just give it a fucking try.
Yeah, why the hell not? They're easy. They're like $3 to enter a tournament that could win you like $2,000.
Yeah,
whatever. Fuck, man.
I probably won't ever take DraftKings seriously. I just like my straight betting. Just give me my odds, give me my lines. I'm good with that. Anything else you want to really touch on?
No,
I think we did a good job of doing the Wednesday and Saturday card.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get something May 30th.
And then every week from then on, please.
It would have been nice if they did the 23rd as well too, right? 23rd, 30th, 6th. Fucking just keep it going.
Dude. I'm down. Just keep sending me to fights. I don't need any weeks off. We don't need.
The last fight we had before 249 was March 14th. That was the last card. That was Lee Oliveira, which seems like years ago.
May 30th onwards, don't just right till 2021. Don't hit me with a weekend off.
We're close. I think we did the math. It was like close to at least one fight per week. So
maybe like 2 weeks they'd have to take off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, make sure you guys check out the Deciding Splits episodes. Those were fun to do. And then obviously subscribe, like, do all that shit, comment. And we will see you guys next week. We're going to do a podcast next week because there will definitely be news that comes during this week. Yeah. So we'll do that. So make sure you guys check that shit out. And rate and review on iTunes as well too, because that's something somebody told me to start doing recently because that helps apparently. Whatever. Fucking
I've heard that a lot. That other podcasts.
Let me vocally cue you guys to do that because that helps apparently. So make sure you guys do all that shit, and we'll see you guys next week.